Peace and blessings. This is me, Style Bay, aka Warlock Asylum, coming at you once again with another episode of Raw Talk. And this evening we'll be discussing more information from the Ivory Tablets of the Crow, beginning with the Solar Fire. So in the previous episodes, we discussed a little bit about the Ivory Tablets of the Crow in conjunction with the Nzulu sciences and how it's utilized to transform our consciousness and also to work on internal cultivation of our own being, separate from relationships that we may have with otherworldly forces. And one of the key elements of that, which ranks is essential out of all the Nzulu exercises in the tome, is the solar fire, because it teaches one the Vastu language, the initial steps of the Vastu language. I'm going to share my screen for a second and get a little bit more into this. Hold on one second. Let me just... Okay, I'm going to try that again. Just get with the screen share. Here we go. Let's get this jumping off. And there we are with let me reduce this, the 9 Books of Dreams, which covers the solar fire. It says, I have copied these words faithfully as my father instructed. They must be remembered, for all that is remembered is alive. If a thing is not remembered, it cannot be put in operation. Long before my father and I returned to the land, we learned the fools who read, but do not remember. They were deceived by spirits of the grave and promised many things which never came to pass. The knowledge you possess is the knowledge that you remember. If it has not been remembered, then it is borrowed and will be taken away and searched for again and again. So let me stop sharing. So one of the things that it discusses a lot in the Ivory Tablets of the Crow, and specifically in the 9 Books of Dreams, each of the steps of initiation in the Orb Nzulu definitely introduces some of the philosophy of Nzulu in that. And one of the things is memory. Memory plays a big part in Nzulu, remembering the incantations and stuff, because that also too is a training exercise. In this case, we're dealing with the Vastu letters. And let me share my screen again and we go further into that. Pull this up. And we can see that, the Vastu letters, we can see the first one is Z. It's pronounced as, and it's the light of the goddess. The second one is Om, which carries the powers of the first letter to a distant location. The third letter is 2, the symbol of protection, increases vitality. Fourth, Uumha, which is Hamu, but pronounced Uumha. It deals with sexual energy. The fifth, Huenbi, which deals with earthly treasures and also the region of plants and getting to learn their language. Huenbi is actually the center. When you add B and HU up using the process of simple gematria, you'll come to the number 45, which is 9, which equals 9. And also it gives some more about the mythology of it. It's a very crucial letter. It's the centerpiece of this entire process. A Hef, which is the 6th letter, and that deals with emotions and also the arts of levitation. Uzien, I'm just going how they're pronounced, is the 7th letter. It's a protective shield, also deals with healing. Uwel is the 8th letter, deals with initiation. And Ekes, which is the 9th letter, as we can see over here, and that deals with absorbing the use of death energy. And each of these has a chakra that is relative, and some of the chakras are distinct. Outside of the traditional 7 chakras, the last 2, which is Uwell, which deals with the sexual center, the genitalia, and Ekis, which deals with the anus area. Most of the other from the 7 up are aligned to the traditional chakras. Okay. And so it gives us, how one will work with this energy. Let me stop the screen share. Is that they would invoke 1 letter a day through each of the 9 chakras. So, for example, if you were starting, you would begin a meditation in the beginning with Ez, and you will go Ez at the top, do this to the song, to each of the chakras, all the way to the chakra of Ekis, or the anus chakra, and then you will come back up. And that will complete the exercise for that day, for that letter, and then you want to take notes. The next letter, Mua, which be said through the 9 chambers and back up, and that will complete that. At the end of the 9 days, when you complete all the letters, you would say them all at once. So it'll be as Muau Dium Ha Hu and Be a Half Uzi and Uelekes Ekes Uel Uzi and a Half Uem Ha Mua Es. And that's 1 time down and 1 time up. And you would want to say that a minimum of 3 times before going into, other different visualizations or mental exercise. And that's pretty much the solar fire. The solar fire was spoken of. It's a term that is used in various forms of literature, whether it be Sufism, alchemy, or even Christianity and some forms of Judaism also use the term the solar fire. For us, it's that initial divine spark within each of us that we're trying to develop. The 9 aspects are the footprints of the crow, so definitely in exercising that and in tuning to that on a regular basis, one is able to raise their spirit up. This process for me initially was really deep. I had a lot going on, but I know one thing, that it was a very purifying process as well. Let me see if I can pick up another quote that discusses this. Let me just see exactly what chamber this is in. Yes, let me check this one out here. Okay, it's in what a person could see. The American Journal of Psychology, Volume 4, page 181, in the year 1892, and discusses the human organism is compounded out of elements at the bottom and those at the top of the world process in such a way that the body consists of the earth and the solar fire, the mechanical bond which connects the individual soul. Let's take a look into that. The mechanical bond which connects the individual soul with the diffused soul of the world is respiration. In respiration, we breathe in the fire, and therefore the rationality diffused in the air. So that's an interesting definition. There's others. You will find that Gerald Macy gives a very profound revelation about the solar fire. But the solar fire, out of all the exercises mentioned in the ivory tablets, the solar fire, gets into the depth of the exercise. One could actually do the solar fire. If they were to do the solar fire every day, they'll be pretty advanced over some time, because that's going to give one the psychic sensitivity needed to pursue other sciences and things like that. So a lot of people who work with the art of Ninzuru, the solar fire is definitely a required step, and then from there, they may pick a path indifferent to the rest of the tone, but we'll discuss that in our next lesson. This is me, Sal Bay, aka Warlock Asylum, saying have a good evening.